Hi, I'm Kayla Cardio, and I'm going to show you a basic hack, highlight and contour with Seint 3D foundation. So what sets Seint apart is that it's a cream-based foundation, and instead of putting one color all over for your base, you're going to use several colors of a base. We're going to darken in some areas. That's going to give some dimension and brighten in others. So instead of one beige layer, we'll end up having kind of paint by numbers for your face, and that will avoid you having to add different colors on top of that beige base layer, which will, when you mix mediums, is what shows texture. So this is going to be really skin-like and smooth and look more natural because your main face is not just one beige layer. So I'm going to start with the 3D brush, and you could do this in any order because as long as you're putting the colors in the right place and then at the end blending it into one layer, it doesn't matter if you start with the darker contour with the highlight. It's just totally a preference. So I'm going to use my 3D brush, and I'm gonna dab into my all over highlight color, which is the most like what you would think of as your typical foundation, the one that matches the majority of your face. I want you to see how little of product that I'm picking up, and mine are pretty full new tints. These are June and Candlelit. I can use either one. So just going into both. I'm gonna lightly put that wherever maybe a man would have a beard. So I'm going up about as high as a beard would go. And this beeswax in the base just spreads. You'll be so surprised at how little product that you need. Okay, next I'm gonna do the same thing on my nose. A little bit between my eyebrows. I tend to touch my nose, so I'll give it a little extra love around the bottom. And then I'm not going up very high between my brows. And so I've kind of avoided the middle of my face because I know I'm gonna contour there, and I'm gonna put very little under eye because this is the area that has the most texture. So you do not want a lot of product there. So I also am gonna add an extra brightening shade there. So I really don't want a lot of product. So again, I'm using the 3D foundation brush, and this 3D brush you can use, you can do your entire face with this brush. The tools are gonna make all the difference in the look that you achieve. So I was very careful to barely put any under eye because I don't want any creasing there. Okay, so let's move to the detail brush. Again, you could have kept doing it with the same brush. I just love this brush for contouring because of the shape of the detail brush. You can get a more detailed contour. Now, the contour is a little drier, so you're gonna have to pick up. So instead of just dabbing it like I was the other one, I am kind of picking it up. And I'm gonna start at my hairline and just pull that forward and darken my forehead because that's not where I want the attention drawn. So we are not going to highlight that area because that's not where I want people looking. I tend to have a kind of large forehead, so I need to do maybe more contouring than some people. So again, just darkening that. You can use a warm or a cool contour. I have one of each. This one's a little warmer, this one's a little cooler. I like the cooler ones to make like the shadows on my nose. A lot of that is just a preference. So I've just darkened that forehead a little bit. So that is my foundation up there. I didn't need to bring any of that light color up. And then I'm gonna find my cheekbone, and I'm just gonna stamp this contour right on my natural cheekbone so it looks like my face. And I wanna keep it angling down because just like if you wear stripes that way, it makes you look thinner. If you make it really horizontal, then it's gonna make your face look a little more broad. So if you do have a narrow face, that's something that you can do. And I'm gonna stop at the pupils, and I'm just gonna kind of spread it out at the back a little bit so it kind of tapers down almost to a point. Again, same thing other side. And you'll get to where, I mean, you can drag it and go a little faster. This makeup you can do really quick, but I'm just trying to walk you through it, so I'm being a little more detailed and slow today. But basically, you're just right on your cheekbones, spread it out at the back, and then I make it meet that other line that we've gone, because eventually it's going to be a 3. So I don't add any more product here. I usually just keep whatever's left and bring it down under my jawline to make it look a little crisper instead of like I eat a lot of Chick-fil-A, which I do. Okay, so again, under my jawline, just to make it look a little crisper and meet that other one in a 3. So see how we've done a 3? So my face already has so much more dimension than when we started. You can also do little tricks like making your lips look a little bigger. You can outline them with contour. That's a huge tip, but today we'll just do the basics. So another reason I love this detail brush, I can just dip in the side. I am switching to my cool contour. but you could do it with either one. I'm gonna make my nose look a little thinner. So if you saw before I had the makeup on, if you wanna rewind it, you can see that there were, like when we draw a little stick figure, a little cartoon, we draw 2 lines down to make their nose. That's because that's where the shadow normally is. All I'm doing is cheating and bringing it a little closer together than it actually is to make it look a little bit more narrow. If you already have a narrow nose, you can just put it where it normally is, where the normal shadow is, just to still give it a little bit more contrast. Because that's what filters do. When you put a filter on Instagram or whatever, they're just bumping up the contrast to just show the natural structure of your face. Well, this way we get to wear our filter all day long. So make sure that you keep them straight at the bottom. It's kind of different based on your nose shape, but you just don't want the lines to go out or else you're gonna make the bottom of your nose look wider. So be careful not to, either to keep them straight or going together. Okay, and now I'm just gonna add a tiny bit, so very little product here, of a little bit brighter shade. I'm gonna use the blend brush to do that under my eye because I want them to pop a little bit. And I'm gonna do that all the way in that little pie shape. So not just under where a dark circle would be, but that entire pie shape. Very, very little product. I should show you how little I put on there, just for a little extra brightness. I'm using the color Sunlit. It's an extra bright, probably the brightest, most yellow-based cream foundation that we offer at Seint. And I barely, again, if you have dry skin, I would not set your under eye at all, because that powder is just gonna draw attention to texture. If you have very oily skin, you really, again, use the least amount of product possible under your eye to avoid creasing and texture issues. So I just added a tiny bit of brightness. I can flip to the other end of that brush and do the same thing. Little extra brightness, just where we want the focal point of our face. So like right up the center of the nose, between the brows, kind of going to meet that contour. And this is the blend brush, so we're just blending a little bit, mixing it with that contour color. And that's it. I like to add a little of the brightness right here to make my lip shape look like it's actually does something. And then you can put a little on your chin. So that's just that extra brightening shade. That's an optional step. Some people just use the typical one that we did at the beginning. And lastly, we're gonna add our blush, which is also cream. So it's part of the foundation, which is what makes this makeup look so natural, is that you don't put a powder blush on top of liquid foundation and mix those mediums. It's still gonna look like skin. So I'm gonna use the blush and bronzer brush, which is made for this. You can mix and match colors, so I can go into a little Frenchy, I can go into Sandstone, doesn't matter. And I'm just going to go right on the top of that contour line so it doesn't look so crazy anymore. And a little on the apples of my cheeks. Just blending back as I go. Just kind of tapping it on there. And now my face has so much more dimension. I do most of my blending with this fluffy end of this brush. If I'm gonna add bronzer, we have a Bella cream bronzer. You can buy this blush in like a bundle with it, and it's a really great deal. I think it gives you like 10 bucks off or something. So you can do bronzer before or after your makeup. It's a cream as well, so it's not gonna give you any texture issues. And again, I've gone really light with it. I've done a natural look. You can always, these are super buildable. So if you like more blush, then put more blush, right? It's all buildable because you're using that same medium, and you can even use the blush color as your lip color. Isn't that nice? This is Sandstone. Yes, and I have really thin upper lip, so I should probably use a brush to get to that top lip. And there we go. One layer. Again, it'll be faster when I'm not walking you through all the steps, but that's your basic hack. One layer, 4 colors. You can do all this with the 3D brush. Today I used the 3D brush, the detail brush, which is my favorite for contouring, and the blush bronzer brush. Oh, and I did use the blend brush. Once you have them, you have to use them all, but you can do this with as little as possible. So just reach out to your artist and we'll help you out. All right, thanks for watching.